How do you know when something was planned versus the truth? Well, uh, when somebody tells their daughter not to talk to a person, not to allow them to hug that person, not allow for them to sit near that person, and that they're going to eat at a different time, and the daughter says to her mom that she wants to spend time with this person because she can go out later and talk to her friends. The mom says, "No, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to spank you." And that's what she said to her about 2.5 years ago. And that's what they've been doing ever since, all the way up to where it led to where we are now. Um, that's how I say it was planned. Another thing is that about a week before all this went down, the mother asked the person if he was in love with her daughter, and the person said, "Yeah, I really do love your daughter. I truly do, but it's not the way you think." And the mother took it to mean like sexual. I don't know why she would go there, but that's where she went with it. So she like freaked out, and then Sunday, they were there and they were talking about doctrine, and they were saying stuff about predestined will versus free will because they don't believe in free will. And so they didn't like what I had to say because I believed something different and they didn't agree with it. So they were yelling at this person because they didn't agree the same way as they do. And then it went from that to a story that was embellished and was coaxed out of their daughter. That this person, you did something inappropriate to her, and it was really strange because, you know, the night or Sunday night before that happened and it happened on Monday. She said to the person that, "Well, I hope this don't put a dampener on our relationship due to what you don't agree the same way that we do." And she's like, "Well, what about all the people who are unsaved? How are they going to be saved?" I said, "Well, that's what the person said. They said, well, they have to come to Jesus. If they don't come to Jesus, then they're not going to be saved." So that's what they said to them, and they didn't agree with that, and that's what they were yelling about. So the next day, it went from that to their daughter. It just seemed really planned to me. And when I heard that from what the person has told me, and it just was really, really bizarre. And then the neighbor over there where the person lives, was talking to the mother after she's been warned that this person was always lying on that person ever since they moved in to where they live. And she goes and talks to her out in the parking lot for 12 minutes. You know, I don't know why, but, she knows that this person causes trouble, but she still spoke to him anyway. The mother did. And she just didn't. She's like she values more what they say, that when yet she should value the person that known them for 7 years, what they say, because they know him. When he asked her what if she believed all what was said, the mother replied, "I don't know what to believe," which meant that she believed her over him. And that was really bad because, you know, she should believe him more than her because she knows him. She don't even know this girl. This girl don't even know him except the fact that he lives across the hall from her. And then she told the mother that he lured her granddaughter into his apartment. But the funny thing is, how could he do that when he was asleep? So this is the story she told the mother, the neighbor did, that lives across the hallway from him. And, he was asleep, and my granddaughter walked in because the door was unlocked. She happened to walk in there, and she woke him up. And she went and told everybody that he lured her in. But if you can't lure somebody in when you're sleeping, I don't think. So that's what she did. And so she probably told the mothers that stuff. And that's what made her go crazy. Act on hiatus, really. So, that's all. That's all what happened in the span of that week before, and then the daughter goes ahead and calls the person and asks them, about something on there about posts that need to be deleted, and then she said, she just like warned the person. She said, "I love you. Um, don't worry about it. It's not your fault. Everything's gonna be okay, and everything's gonna work out." And she said that 4 times, even though she was just asked, something's wrong. I said, "I know you." That's what the guy went on to say. "I know you. Something's wrong. What's going on?" And she just repeated the same stuff again. And and to me, that means it was planned because her mother Sunday night said, "Well, I hope this don't put a strain on um, our relationship because of what we don't agree on that. We have differences in that." And the guy exclaimed, "No, it don't really put no, strain on me. It never was an issue," he said. "You're the one that's making it an issue because you're the one bringing it up." I said, so he goes on, he says to her, "Well, you must have something planned, right?" So she goes, "No, I don't got nothing planned." And she just kind of looked at her husband, like all silent, And then all this stuff happened with her daughter, with the story coming out. Something happened with the daughter with this person the day later. But, the funny thing is the daughter warned that person about this on Tuesday. And then Thursday there was an email, um, because it was embellished. And then on Thursday there was an email that came out, and it was demanded for him to give the father a call to talk to him about it. What these things were, and then the bizarre text that she sent to him earlier that same morning, which were rather bizarre, about going into the hospital and getting help for a mental issue or a problem. And I thought they thought it was really crazy, because it was rather crazy to receive those things. And then the back up, the 3 boys came over the person's house to watch the Super Bowl. Whenever that is, I guess it's the end of January or early part of February. It's the end of January. And they had a ball. They had a wonderful time. All 3 of them did. And, be nice if, the person said, "I'd be nice if Beth Ann could come over too." And, matter of fact, the same night, the same day, there, before they went off to youth group that night, the person asked her, "Would you like to go to the Super Bowl?" And her body language said yes, but her mouth said no. She said she was going over to see a friend. She was going to spend time with a girlfriend, and then she said, "Well, I got to go see my girlfriend. That's why I'm not coming." And I thought it was weird how it's like she wanted to come, but her mother wouldn't allow her to come over. And I could see that because her body language was saying one thing, but her mouth was saying another. And that's what the person exclaimed. But it was really strange. But, that's why this seems like it was planned out, is what the person said, exclaimed. Because, all these things happening. And, the mother saying that the night before. And then this story coming out and how the story kept changing. Just kept changing to make it more juicy. And and then on top of that, the one brother's teasing her, his sister over and over about it, saying that you're in love with your uncle, and saying things like that to make her upset, and that's why she was getting mad. She wasn't mad at the person, but she was mad at her brother, and was mad at them how they keep rehashing and trying to brainwash her and keep going over and over and over, because that would normally make anybody angry after a while. trying to change the view of a person, to make them look like they're a bad person, and making her, not want to like that person. And that's what the attempt at what the mother's trying to do here. Um, and of course, she slipped out and told, her friend that she needs to get over him. Okay, so that means that yes, the daughter does really like or really love this person, but of course they're too old to be together right now, and they both understand that. The person understands that, and so does the daughter, because she's too young. And she made the statement in the car, on Tuesday about, "I know you're in love with my daughter," and then it escalated to all this stuff after that. So there was a plan definitely in place there, is what seems like went down there. That's what I see from the get-go, as analysis goes. And that's what it looks like. Because the story kept changing. And the thing about the month before they came over for the Super Bowl, which was at the end of January, it's when they have it, or was it February? I'm not really sure. But anyway, the son, one of the boys, said to the mother, he said, "We want to come over to Uncle Michael's house because he's got a TV and internet, and we have a lot of fun over there. We don't like going over to Lance's, because we just watch the same old dumb movies, and it gets boring sometimes over there, because there's not a lot to do." And that's what he said. So he said, well, you said something happened, didn't you? That's what the mother said. And Jeremy said, "No, I never said anything happened. That's what you keep saying." He said, "Well, why'd you tell me something happened?" He goes, "Because I told you, because that's what you wanted to hear. So basically, I lied to you." So he said, she called him name. He said, "Get in the car right now. You need to get in the car right now." And he said, "Well, why? That's what you did. And so I just told you what you wanted to hear." And that's what he said. And that was like before the Super Bowl. So, it's just, there's a lot of things that were blown out of proportion. There are some things that were true about it. But to say that the daughter was mad at him and doesn't want to have a relationship, doesn't like him, is mad at him, is totally not true. Because she would call him sometimes once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week to ask him stuff, tell him about school, and some weeks she wouldn't call him. But, she would talk to him, and she got all upset about him not following him on Instagram, and she made a big deal about it because it was 3 weeks, and she got real upset and asked him, confronted him, said, "Why aren't you following me on, Instagram?" And she had tears in her eyes, and she was upset. Definitely could see that. And for her to not like him and hate him, it's kind of, you hate somebody and not want to be around them or have nothing to do with them. Why would you be doing that? If you hated them, you wouldn't care if they were following you or not, right? So she said, "Well, I said you could follow me, and why didn't you follow me?" is what she said. So he said, "Well, I'll follow you, but I think the way your mother's been acting lately, it's been really crazy. Where she won't allow you to see me or to talk to me or to give me a hug or to sit by me. She's making it look like you don't want to be around me. And I know it's not true that you don't feel that way, but your mother's doing this." And she goes, I told you that you could follow me," is what she said to the person, on Instagram. "And if you do, I'll follow you." So I said, so the person said, "Okay, I'll follow you." So he did. So then she started following him. And then her mother got on there and made an accusation saying that she was saying that he was communicating to her, directly. Just mainly speaking to her, when the posts don't even say that. The posts that actually go out for everybody. So the person exclaimed. But she made it sound like, that the posts were specifically for her daughter. And it's not true. And then she said that, went on to say that she did not that her daughter did not like for him to follow him and never said for him to follow him, because that was not true, and that she did not like it. That's what her mother said. And it was not true, because she was upset and was wondering why the daughter was, why he was not following him, or following her. And, so that was not true, just to kind of throw that out there. So there's lots of lies and embellishing going on, a lot of discouraging. It's like, whatever happens with the daughter and that person will be, if there's love, there's love, and they both feel that way for each other. When she gets older, she's 16 and get parental consent, they can be together like that, because by law in the state of Virginia, they can be. That's what he talked about with the father, and that's the truth. And if they're going to change the story and lie and say that it was made up, that's totally false, because that is what they talked about. And he said to him in the bedroom up there that if the daughter, it's a long time, but if the daughter, that's a real long time to wait 4 years, is because a lot can happen between then. And it's true that she'll be going through puberty and all that stuff, because she's going through that age. And a lot of times they'll forget about you, but sometimes they don't. And I said, well, if she doesn't forget about me, she still feels the same way. Will you allow us at least to be together, so you give me consent so I can marry your daughter when she's 16? He said, well, if she still feels that way, I'll let you marry my daughter. But you have to promise me, that you'll, be good to her, and then do right by her between now and then. And so they agreed. And, that's what he really did say to him. And so I hope that he's not changed his tune. The mother's not really on board with it, because, she thinks that he wants to go off with her and do stuff with her like that now. And that's just not totally true. But that's the way she has, embellished it into being, and has taken it way out of context. So that's why the person says this was planned. And seems like it was planned all along that way. From the get-go, when it started with the eating at a different time and not allowing them to talk to her and you get hugs from her, because that's inappropriate. You usually hug people when you don't see them, and you do that when you love them, and it's usually what you do in a family, and they were adopted into the family, so that's not inappropriate at all to be doing that. But to say that the daughter doesn't like that person, the person just wanted to show that the information that they said is not true, because the actions that the daughter has shown through the 2.5 years after all this stuff has happened does not seem to indicate that at all. What they're saying is not true. The daughter has a genuine hate for this individual and does not want to be around this person. That definitely doesn't show to be the truth, because of the actions that she's shown otherwise. That shows otherwise. So, that's just what I want, or the person, wants to let you know. And what I want you to know, the truth about the situation and what's going on. And as for what happens with me and whatever happens with the daughter and that person, hopefully, with the law and with parental consent, that they'll be able to be together. Because of love, there's love. There's really love there. Love always finds a way. And it really does. So, that's really the truth about it, folks. Take care. And just want to let the story get out there. It's definitely a lot of stuff that ain't true. Because there's stuff the person did that was wrong, but there's also stuff that they did that was wrong. The mother did mainly that was wrong, too.